Hey, it's me, Vicky Marie, and good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in this crazy world we're living in. So I've got a very serious, very sad case this morning that I'm going to tell you about, and I've ummed and ahed and wondered whether to or not. I don't like doing cases that involve children, but how can these children? They need a voice more than anyone, don't they? When these things happen, and also the baddies, if you like, the horrible, evil people. In this case, they need to be shown. Their faces need to be shown. Their names need to be said, because one day these people will be back out amongst normal people, not demons like they are. And not only that, the woman, the mother of this child, Isabella, up in the right hand corner there, the mother of that child has only received a 10-year sentence. She's 24 years old, so she is going to be out. She may have more children. So I think this case, it's got to be talked about. But I want to give a warning. It is awful, really is awful. So if you think you might be too sensitive to listen to the details of what happened to little Isabella and how she was let down, especially by the person who should have cared for her more than anyone, then, it might be better that you don't watch this. I'm going to start off. Let me put a picture of Isabella. So this is little Isabella. 2 years old. Frozen in time now. She'll never be another age. She'll never reach 3. Because Isabella was murdered by, it wasn't even her stepfather. Isabella was murdered by, sorry, I've just lit the candle for Isabella. She was murdered by a man that her mum had been seeing for 36 days. 36 days. So this is Isabella's mother, if you could call her a mother. She has literally got away with murder because she's only received a 10-year sentence. This is the twonk that didn't look at him. Look at this. I mean, he's just a pathetic little wimpy type. It's just awful that he was allowed to do this. So this is Isabella and her mum in happier times. Maybe her mum did love her once. This is what drugs do to people. So this is, they were on drugs, cocaine, marijuana. But even worse than the fact that, if there could be anything worse than killing the 2-year-old, they then put her little body in a pushchair and pushed her around, took her shopping, pretended she was still alive, laughing and joking. So you're going to see some upsetting CCTV that the police has released. And again, all I can do is say to you that if you are sensitive, don't watch it. It's probably better not to watch it. But for me, I just want to show these people up for what they are. And, remember Isabella, because she deserves to be remembered. She's not had much of a life. She didn't have much of a life, but she still deserves to be remembered. Okay. So where am I going to start? So I'm going to start off reading you what happened. Again, I just can't give enough warnings in this case. I just can't give enough warnings. But let's start off with this BBC article. So, couple concealed a murdered toddler in a pushchair to go shopping. I mean, it's like, talk about parallel universe. Just reading that sentence out, you're thinking, it can't be right. What? You can't, you just reading that. Couple concealed murdered toddler in a pushchair to go shopping. It doesn't make sense, does it? You can't believe that anyone could do that. You cannot believe that anyone could do that. Bad enough killing her. And she 36 days. 36 days this twonk was in her life. And in that time, all he did was beat her. And this horrible woman, her own mother, knew it was happening and allowed it to happen. And she's got away with only getting 10 years because she blamed it all on him. But she knew about it all. And you'll see from the CCTV that we're going to watch, she was laughing and joking with him while they were pushing her dead 2-year-old daughter around in a pushchair. That's the sort of woman she is. So where did it go from this, where she looks like she, loves Isabella? Let's just need to have a look. Look how beautiful, little cutie. So cute. Evil walks this earth. I tell you, the more I go into crime, etc., the more I think there is evil in this world. And a lot of it is drugs, alcohol as well, that brings out the evil in people. But I still think you've got to be evil anyway, no matter what drugs you take or no matter what alcohol you drink or whatever terrible upbringing you've had. How do you get to such a level of disassociation that you can not only murder a little girl like that, but then push them around in a pushchair and laugh and joke as you're doing it? It's just beyond belief, isn't it? Beyond belief. Now, I'll just say hello to people that are in chat. Hi, Kelly. Hi, Claire. Sorry to wake you up with an awful story, but it's not a story, it's real, and we have to talk about Isabella. Hi, Daniel. So, yeah, there's definitely evil in this world. Anyway, the trial is finished and they've been sentenced. I don't know I didn't follow the trial. I've seen it on the periphery. I've not been able to follow it because it was just so upsetting. And what with Sarah Sharif as well, it just feels like all these awful things going on with children. There's a limit to sort of, oh, look at her little face. There's a limit to what you can sort of look at. But of course, it's not about me, is it? It's about her. It's about her and her. She deserves to have her story told. So Scott Jeff, that's his name, Scott Jeff, that bloody little wimp, 24 years old himself, only young. He was in the life of 2-year-old Isabella Jonas-Wheildon for just 36 days. And after starting a relationship with her mother, Chelsea Gleason-Mitchell, and leaving their hometown in Bedfordshire, he subjected the toddler to sustained attacks that killed her. So this is in the UK. Sorry for people that are in different countries. This is in the United Kingdom. That's, something to be proud of, isn't it? These British, not even immigrants, Anyway, fleeing to the Norfolk coast and then Ipswich with the couple both under the influence of drugs. Drugs? People who extol the virtues of drugs will say, oh, it's all right, it's recreational or this, that and the other. It's not. It's not. Drugs are not good. They're not good. And people go to these people. Some people, I suppose, like alcohol. Some people can take a drug at the weekend, a recreational drug or whatever they want to call it, smoke a spliff, do. But other people, they just get completely hooked. And also it alters their mind state in the sense of it desensitizes them. How desensitized do you have to be to push your own daughter around in a pushchair when she's dead and keep her in your house for a couple of days because you don't want people to know she's dead? How desensitized do you have to be to do that? I mean, the drugs have to have totally taken over you by then, don't they? So fleeing to the Norfolk coast and then Ipswich, with the couple both under the influence of drugs, Gleason-Mitchell turned a blind eye to Jeff's brutality. So after 36 days, she was that engrossed in this relationship with this man. After 36 days, that he became more important to her than her own daughter. So they even walked the child's dead body around in a pushchair to conceal the crime. They were eventually arrested after leaving Isabella's body in a locked bathroom, and on Friday Jeff was convicted of her murder, while Gleason-Mitchell admitted charges relating to the death and child cruelty. Why was she not found guilty of murder as well? I just don't understand. She blamed everything on him during this trial, and she said Jeff's anger at the child spiraled when Isabella had accidents while potty training. She's 2 years old, of course she will have had accidents. Smiley, blonde-haired Isabella had been described as an engaging and happy child with an attentive mother. I mean, it looks on photos, that her mother does look like she was what is it with women? A lot of women that they meet a man and then their child just becomes second place. And not only that, even it's not only that maybe they give more attention to their boyfriend, their new boyfriend or whatever, but they actually know that they're abusing them, physically or sex, and let it happen. What planet are they on? What are they thinking? Honestly, sometimes you try and get yourself. I suppose part of the fascination of true crime, isn't it, is we want to understand the world and why people do things. But with these kind of things, you literally can't. You can understand the fit of rage. You can even understand people who are, in love triangles or jealousy. Human emotions and things that people can get carried away. But you cannot. Any right-thinking person cannot understand why a mother, after a 36-day relationship, or even a 36-year relationship, to be fair, would put their partner first. So in that, might put them first if they put their dinner out first, or, something like. But put them first, that they'll turn a blind eye to them actually beating their little 2-year-old daughter. So how did it go wrong? Well, only she knows that. So warning, this article features distressing details. So the 2-year-old, who was found under a pile of blankets with traumatic injuries from head to toe. This is a very similar case, isn't it, to Sarah Sharif, except she's a lot younger as well. And of course, with Sarah, it was her own father that did it. Here, it looks like it was it's not even a stepfather, the mother's, flavour of the month that did it. And on June, she was found on 30th of June 2023, and she officially died from a bone marrow embolism as a consequence of skeletal trauma. Gleason-Mitchell and boyfriend Jeff, both 24 and previously of Biggleswade, were arrested the day after Isabella was discovered. And we're going to watch the video of when they were arrested. They had spent the previous night drinking at the Corn Exchange pub in Bury St Edmunds, and the harrowing details of Isabella's final weeks were described over the course of a 7-week murder trial at Ipswich Crown Court. A jury found Jeff guilty of murder but acquitted Gleason-Mitchell of the charge. I don't know how she got acquitted, honestly. Jeff was also found guilty of causing or allowing the death of a child, cruelty to a child in relation to cocaine, and cruelty to a child in relation to cannabis. Offences Gleason-Mitchell had previously admitted. This child had traces of drugs in her system, but they think that was like second, hopefully they hadn't actually given her drugs. It was maybe just a consequence of being in that environment. So yeah, look at this picture. I mean, she looks happy there. Her mum looks happy. Where did that mother what happened? How did she put him before her own daughter? So apparently Gleason-Mitchell stood by as her boyfriend beat her daughter, Isabella, the court was told. Now, they had dated before, even though he'd only been in her life for 36 days this time. They'd first dated in 2019. But, so, God, 2019, that's 5 years ago. So they were only 19 then. And they split up before Gleason-Mitchell met Thomas Wheildon, with whom she had Isabella. Over the course of that relationship, their daughter was said to have been a happy, healthy, engaging and contented child, and there was absolutely no suggestion of anything other than good parenting. So what happened to this mother? When did she, this is what I mean? I feel like there is evil in this world. It's like people get possessed by drugs. So she started off as being a good mum and then ended up allowing this to happen. So, after splitting from the child's father, she reunited with Jeff on the 21st of May 2023 before leaving Bedfordshire and fleeing to Great Yarmouth. They attempted to secure council housing, falsely claiming they were on the run from Gleason-Mitchell's former partner, who they claimed was violent. So they were playing the system, trying to get a house, casting aspersions on Isabella's dad. This ugly twonk, he probably resented Isabella because she's like the proof of a relationship between the mum and somebody else. She's a living embodiment of a different relationship there, so there's probably jealousy there. I mean, look at him. Oh my God, I hope they make his life a misery in prison. Sometimes I think, oh no, you shouldn't wish ill on people. But how difficult is it not to wish ill on this man? Hi, Joanne. Yeah, 36 days. Oh, Kelly, does your mum live in Bigglesworth? Well, that's where they come from, but I think it actually happened in Ipswich. Let's have a look. Where is Bigglesworth on the map? I mean, I've heard of it, but I wouldn't know where it was. Why are cats coming up when I put Bigglesworth Google Maps? Why are cats coming up? Bigglesworth, but no, it's coming up Spain. I don't know why. Oh God, it's not working properly this morning. Bigglesworth, is it, or Biggleswade? Biggleswade. Right. Okay, so this is Biggleswade. This is where they're both from, but I think the actual incident happened in Ipswich. Oh, so it's near Bletchley Park. Oh, God, I didn't realise it was in the south. I was thinking it was in the north. Just shows what my UK geography is like. It's rubbish. Is it Biggleswade? Let's have a look. Yeah, Biggleswade. Yeah. So it's near Bletchley Park here in the south, not far from St Albans, Cambridge. Yeah. I wouldn't have known that. I'll say it's in the south. It's not quite south, is it? What would you call it? Sort of roundabout this. Here it is. So it's sort of, well, it is the south, really, I suppose. Anyway, that's where Biggleswade is. That's where they're from originally. But I think the actual incident took place in Ipswich. Right, where was I? Yeah, go look at him. Oh my God, and wait till you see this CCTV when he was arrested. He's just horrible, horrible. Anyway, so the pair stayed at the St. George Hotel in Great Yarmouth and then in a tent on a beach in Caister-on-Sea, sleeping on towels and blankets before spending 3 nights at a local caravan park. During this time, Isabella was regularly left alone and was made to repeat phrases about how her real father hurt her. These were said to be learned lines that she was forced to repeat. They were offered a flat at the East Villas housing complex in Sidegate Lane, Ipswich, on the 19th of June, 11 days before Isabella's body would be found and a week before she would be murdered. Over the course of the trial, both defendants blamed each other for the violence and each claimed to have never physically harmed Isabella. Oh my God, so these traumatic injuries obviously just came, from nowhere. They were like, neither of them physically harmed her. This was a bit like this in the Sarah Sharif trial, isn't it? That seems to be like the policy then, is it, to blame each other and hope that there's not enough evidence to suggest which one actually did it. So just blame each other and then hope you get off that way. Gleason-Mitchell said she witnessed Jeff repeatedly kick and stamp on her daughter, and her death ultimately arose from violence born out of anger over potty training. She was aware of what was happening to her child, but she stood by and did nothing and said nothing, said Sasha Wass, KC. In the past, however, she said Isabella's well-being had been at the forefront of Gleason-Mitchell's mind. Isabella's medical record showed full engagement with healthcare. Isabella had attended immunisation and there was no cause for concern raised by anybody, she added. She laid complete blame for the injuries suffered by Isabella with Jeff. This version of events, however, was disputed by Christopher Paxton KC, who represented Jeff and described Gleason-Mitchell as cunning. So this is the East Villas housing complex in Ipswich where Isabella's little body was found, locked in a bathroom. What was not contested, however, throughout the trial was the severity of the injuries inflicted on Isabella. Bone pathologist Professor Anthony Freeman said he had never before seen such a degree of pelvic injury in a child in his 40-year career. It was also said that the toddler had died with injuries, usually seen in high-velocity traffic accidents or when being kicked by a horse. Just thinking how you could do it to a little girl like that, what kind of person? Is it like, do drugs let the devil in? It almost feels like that, doesn't it? How could you actually do it? Even if you do, lash out once. But how could you keep doing it? What sort of person? You just cannot wrap your head around that, can you? But even after she died, Gleason-Mitchell said, and Jeff opted against reporting it to the police, instead choosing to pretend she was still alive. They wheeled her dead body around Ipswich in a pushchair while they shopped, drank and took cocaine, and they were laughing and joking. You can see that in a minute. Toxicology reports even revealed that traces of the drug as well as cannabis were in Isabella's body, understood to be ingested second-hand as a result of the couple's own drug use. The alarm was only raised when on the 29th of June, Gleason-Mitchell admitted to her friend Joanne Gardner online that Isabella had been dead in her pushchair for around 3 days. She said she had not contacted the authorities out of fear she would get done because of the bruising on her daughter's body. I don't know, I just feel like she's had something to do with that bruising as well. Even though she's been found not guilty of murder, I don't believe it. I think she is guilty. Can't believe she's been found not guilty. 10 years. She's 24 years old. In 10 years, she'll be 34. She can have more children. She'll probably be out before that anyway. Go on, have more children. Claim more benefits. Get a house, be applying for houses and things. Milk in the system. I look at that woman's eyes. Again, it's all in the eyes. Her eyes are just cold, I think. Instead, Gleason-Mitchell and Jeff decided to abandon Isabella and leave their flat on the 30th of June, catching a bus into the town centre, where they were captured on CCTV shopping and going to McDonald's. God, how often do these bloody criminals go to McDonald's? It must make you hungry being an absolute twat. Before heading to a pub, the pair then got a taxi to Ipswich train station later that afternoon before catching a train to Bury St Edmunds. And while they were at the Corn Exchange pub, Jeff was said to have had a text exchange with his mum, Sandy Duncan. Oh, his poor mum. Oh my God. I'm just thinking, if you heard that your son had done that, oh my God. So I feel for his mum as well. She urged him to turn himself into the police. He replied, "I can't, Mum. It's hard enough to lose a baby girl without them blaming us for it." Fuck off, sorry. Oh my God. Ugh. Now, I hope that mother, Sandy, at least she urged him to turn himself into the police. But do you know what? She's going to go and visit him in prison and take him stuff. I don't know if I could do that. I just don't know that I could, even though, you love your son, whatever. But I don't think I could forgive him for that. Photos were also taken of Gleason-Mitchell while the pair were at the pub, showing her smiling while she was drinking. Unbeknown to the couple, Miss Gardner had called the police with concerns about Isabella about 10 minutes prior to them leaving their flat. So it wasn't the mum, it wasn't his mum that turned them in. It was the friend of this horror, Joanne Gardner. Well done, Joanne, for turning them in. They were then arrested in Bury St Edmunds during the early hours of the morning on the 1st of July. And after the jury returned its verdict, High Court Judge Mr. Justice Neil Garnham told Jeff, "I am obliged by law to impose a life sentence on you." Sound like he was reluctant to do it. "I will have to fix a minimum term for you to serve." Yeah, I think it's 20 years he's been given. So he'll be in his 40s when he comes out. He'd be able to have more. He'll be able to have children because men can go on having children forever. He'll be out. He will be out one day. I don't like the way the judge. So what is it? So you can get 5 years if you're a just oil protester, or just planning a protest, or you can get, if you're Hugh Edwards, you get absolutely nothing. So is this the value that we put on children and children's lives in our society? Because I just can't believe after what he's done, he should never be coming out of prison to lead a normal life. Never. In my opinion, never, ever, ever should that man be walking the streets. And to be honest, her as well, in my opinion. So, right now, I'm going to show you the videos now. And as I say, it's distressing because we know that in the pushchair, well, first of all, we're going to look at the video of when he was arrested, when they both were arrested. And then we're going to see the CCTV that the police have revealed or released. And bear in mind, as they're pushing this pushchair along and laughing and joking, messing about, there's a dead 2-year-old in that pushchair. It's absolutely mind-boggling. Anyway, let's see the arrest. I think it's this one. Yeah. Okay. So this is as he's arrested first, then her.
But I never murdered her.
Never murdered her. Let's just watch that again. I never murdered her.
But I never murdered her.
Yeah. Liar.
But I never murdered.
Yeah, at least he has the grace to look away when he says that. Look down and shaking his head. Of course he murdered her. Of course he fucking murdered her.
Murdered her. So the state I was in, I couldn't really deal with the police at that moment in time. I was really not in the right state.
Oh, look how, oh, poor you. Poor you, because the state he was in at the time, he couldn't deal with the police. I just couldn't deal with the police, the state I was in at that time. Oh my God, you absolute narcissist psychopath. So all you're caring about is how you felt at the time, and you couldn't deal with the police. You'd murdered a little innocent 2-year-old girl, and you couldn't deal with the police. Are we supposed to feel sorry for you? Are we supposed to feel sorry for you? Even surely your own mum can't feel sorry for you.
The state I was in, I couldn't really deal with the police at that moment in time.
I was really not in the right state.
Really not in the right state.
Oh.
Isabella, okay, was found alone and deceased at your home address. Okay, so I'm arresting you on
And this is where she's arrested.
suspicion of murder.
Not guilty. No, not guilty of murder, but guilty of causing or allowing her death. No, I just, honest to God, I don't know how the jury came to that conclusion, because I could see maybe if she would have been, you know, when Isabella died, if she would have gone straight to the police and dobbed him in, you know, this guy that she'd only been seeing for 36 days. But she didn't. She didn't. She pushed that 2-year-old, her own daughter, around in a pushchair for 3 days or something. So that's why. That's why it's just not. How has she been found not guilty? How? And she's going, oh yeah, that's fine when she's been arrested. It's not fine, you fucking idiot. It's not fine. God. Horror. I hope she gets treated badly as well. You know, people who kill children, they do get treated badly in prison. Let's hope so, eh?
Been arrested for, okay.
Hey. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, they're having a good laugh and a joke there. Her dead child is in the pushchair. It's so funny. So funny. Yeah. Does she look like someone whose child has just died? Laughing and joking with the man who's killed her child. She's having a great time. How has she got away with it? How? Honestly, there's something not right with the justice system in the UK. Honestly, it's just not right, is it? That people that do terrible things to children, they literally get away with murder. If they'd robbed a bank, they would have got more sentence, wouldn't they? They would have got a bigger sentence if they would have done something financial. Look at that smile on her face. You want to wipe it off, don't you? You know, even me. Oh God, I hope those women in prison do something. No, I shouldn't say that. Shouldn't say that. Calm down, Vic. I'm getting too emotive. But, you know, it's just disgusting. Let's watch that video one more time.
But I never murdered her. So the state I was in, I couldn't really deal with the police at that moment in time. I was really not in the right state.
Isabella, okay, was found alone and deceased at your home address. Okay, so I'm arresting you on suspicion of murder. Questions if you would you like to arrive at court. Anything you do say, maybe give evidence. Do you understand what you've been arrested for? Okay.
Oh, so when he takes his hands off the pram here and starts dicking about, and she thinks it's hilarious, that little girl's body's in that pushchair. Now, I want to say a little shout out here to the police again, because, you know, as you know, the police, they get a bad press, don't they, in a lot of things. But they've put together this case. They've trolled through all the CCTV from roundabout, and they found these videos. Now, if I was a police person and I'd worked on this case, I'd be fuming at those sentences. I'd be absolutely fuming, especially hers. 10 years for causing the death or allowing the death of a child. 10 years. And I think he's only got 20 years, and possibly we'll have a look in a minute. But, you know, he hasn't got life without the possibility of parole. Look. Yeah. Yeah. All these videos where they're laughing and joking, that baby is in that pram. And here, the baby is in the bathroom. So, yeah, that's the sort of people they are. I've got one more video to show you, I think. Let me see. So this is a Sun. You know, the Sun newspaper has started doing these sort of YouTube style videos to talk about the news. They are good, you know, better than what they were doing before. Let's see. We're going to watch that. We're going to watch their Twitter post. So, yeah, again, it's always a warning with this case. I mean, it is a disturbing case, that's for sure. Oh, helps if I press play.
Don't move, okay? Right, I'm arresting you, okay, due to the fact that Isabella, okay, was found alone and deceased at your home address. Okay, so I'm arresting you on suspicion of murder.
That's why I've come down here for the day, so I can have a drink. And I was going to hand myself into what I've got.
A thug who beat a toddler to death before wheeling her body around in a pram for 4 days has been jailed. 2-year-old Isabella Jonas-Wheildon suffered numerous traumatic injuries as evil Scott Jeff carried out brutal and ultimately fatal attacks. The tot's mum, Chelsea Gleason-Mitchell, stood back, watched, and did nothing as Jeff carried out a regime of escalating brutality. Isabella is believed to have died at a temporary housing unit in Ipswich on June 26 last year, but the warped couple, both 24, kept her death a secret. They instead pushed her body around in a wheelchair with a hood and sunglasses to help cover her face and disguise the heinous injuries. This included taking her lifeless body on a shopping trip to buy computer gaming equipment. She was eventually found and...
Yeah, so they took her body on a shopping trip to buy computer and gaming equipment. And these, what they're going to show you now, are some of his Google searches that he made after her death.
...under blankets in a shower at the housing unit 4 days later. Jeff was convicted of murder and 2 counts of cruelty to a child at Ipswich Crown Court last month. He was today jailed for life with a minimum term of 26 years. Gleason-Mitchell, who admitted causing or allowing Isabella's death and 2 counts of child cruelty, earlier wept as she was cleared of murder. She appeared to shake in the dock as she was jailed for 10 years. Passing sentence, Judge Mr. Justice Neil Garnham said Jeff subjected Isabella to a cruel campaign of violence and abuse, which ended in her death. The judge described former nursery worker Gleason-Mitchell, who stood back and let that abuse and violence happen to your little girl, as a weak and spineless person. In a victim impact statement read to the court.
So I think even when that little Dot was alive, they were still leaving her on her own for long periods of time. But look, yeah, they're having a great time since she's dead, because they don't have to worry about worrying about babysitters or anything like that. What is wrong with this woman? I mean, he's the worst one, of course, well, presumably, but she's the worst one, isn't she? She's the mother. She is that little girl's mother. How could she put this horrible man ahead of a beautiful 2-year-old little daughter, that beautiful girl? How could she put him first? I would never understand it in a million years. You know, your child always comes first. And even to nice men, you know, but him, what? I mean, it's got to be the drug. That's where you think, is she been sort of possessed by the devil or something? It seems like she was a good mum before. You know, what? Oh, just.
Isabella's dad, Thomas Wheildon, described his daughter Isabella as an extension of me.
Yeah, imagine how the dad feels. I mean, I don't know what happened there in their relationship or whatever, whether he had any access to Isabella or not. But, you know, this is not something that's gone on over a long period of time. He's literally been back in her life for 36 days. So to be fair to the father, this, you know, quite often I ask, like in cases like this, what was the father doing? But he didn't get much chance this time, did he? I mean, 36 days, what can you do? You would, you know, if she was a good mother before, you wouldn't have any reason to think she wasn't still being a good mother.
Their trial earlier heard how cops had been greeted by a very strong smell when the bathroom was unlocked at their home.
Yeah, having a good time there, enjoying your glass of wine. Oh my God. So this is it. This is why it's important to tell this story, because she'll be out in it, 10 years most. And as Claire said, probably 6 years she'll be out, if not less, you know, and she'll be going on. People should need to see her face and know who she is and avoid her, you know, because she'll be coming out, she'll be getting in, you know, she's obviously totally dependent on men. You know, if a man can be so important to her, even more important than her beautiful 2-year-old daughter, that's not going to change, is it? So she'll be out, she'll be having more children. I just want people to see her face and remember her, because she will be out not that far in the future.
The discovery came after a woman made a report to police when she was...
Yeah, I hope it chokes you. You'd be a long time before, well, not that long before you'd be having another glass of wine. But, oh, God, you just hope it chokes you. So you were doing that while your daughter was dead in a bathroom, having a great time, having wine, drugs. Disgusting piece of garbage you are.
Received a Facebook message from a friend of hers.
Yeah, and well done that friend. Because how long may that have gone on? You know, if that friend wouldn't have reported them, because his mother didn't report him, I would have reported him. Sorry, I know. I don't even have to think about it. If my son phoned me up and said, "Oh well, I've murdered my girlfriend's baby," I wouldn't be saying give yourself in. I'd be phoning the police and telling them, you know, yeah, I know I would. As much as I love my son, and I would still love him. I don't know how, but I think I would probably still, because at the end of the day, your child's your child. But I would have been straight on the phone to the police. I know that for a fact. I would never cover up for something like that. There are things that you might cover up for. I don't know. I've never been in that position, luckily. But, you know, there's been some times, you know, we've all, I think, especially when, you know, there's been, say time makes sounds awful, but no, nothing like that. But, you know, just, I don't know, maybe smoking some drugs or stuff like that, that, you know, you're not going to go to the police for every little thing that your child does as they're growing up and they're going through that difficult time. But yeah, this is a bit different, isn't it, than, you know, anything like that. You know, so your son phones you, or daughter phones you and says, look, I've just murdered this 2-year-old child, and you don't phone the police and tell them. Terrible. Anyway, so yeah, I'm sorry that's a depressing story, but I just wanted to, Isabel, she deserves her story to be told. This little girl, you know, she meant something. She might have only been on this planet for 2 years, but she meant something, and her story needs to be told. And this one and this one need to be remembered, so that her especially, because she won't be that long before she's out, needs to be remembered, so that when they come out of prison, they'll be seen for the horrible people they are. And what went wrong between, you know, this picture of the mum and the little girl to the next minute she's pushing her dead body around in a pushchair and laughing and joking as she's doing it. Who knows what happened there? Did the drugs got to her? The devil comes in through? I don't know. There's definitely evil in this world. If you believe in good, which I do believe in good, and there's more good than bad, it's just that the bad we notice more, don't we? It's like she was possessed or something. She'd gone from this with this little girl, that little girl. I'm glad she had some good times, that little angel. Look at her. Looks like she's had some happy times at least. I hope so. I hope so. And there you go, another one, another little angel in heaven. Hopefully, you know, getting more love up there than she got in the last 36 days of her life. I'll never understand how somebody could watch someone abuse a child like that and not say anything because it was their boyfriend. You know, it's their boy. She was more bothered about him than she was about this little angel. Awful. Anyway, so I'm not going to play my, well, I will right at the end. I'm going to play some music, and I hope you'll all join me with praying for Isabella, for a little soul, rest in peace. And thank God they have been at least found responsible, but it's terrible. The sentences are terrible, and the British system of justice needs looking at, because you could rob a bank and get more than she's just got 10 years for allowing the death of a child, her own daughter, and you could get more than that for robbing a bank, couldn't you? Well, you would definitely get more than that for robbing a bank. So disgusting. Anyway, thank you for watching. Thank you for caring about Isabella. I'll see you really soon in the next video. And as always, until then, may your God go with you. But also, I want to say, if you see anything ever like that happening, please, please report it. Please. Please, please. Okay, bye.